For 22, we're trying to find the area of a trapezoid, and if you know the area formula, which is height times base 1 plus base 2, and all you have to do is identify the different dimensions. So our height is 3, and our two bases would be 8 and 12, and putting that into the formula, we get 60 divided by 2, or 30. Now, if for some reason that you forgot the formula and didn't remember it, you could always create a rectangle and triangle, then solve the area and find the area of that, and combine the two. So there is another option in case you didn't have that formula handy. For 23, here's a first look at exponents. And typically with exponents, whenever we have things to a negative power, like the x to the negative 3, the 3 to the negative 1, and so forth, you move those to the opposite sides. So for the x to the negative 3, you'd move it to the bottom, and then all those terms on the bottom would then move to the top. Once you move those terms, the bases remain the same, but those exponents go from being negative to being positive. So once you've shifted everything around, you can start to combine things. And once you've moved everything, you have a 3 times a 2 to get 6. I have y to the 4th and y to the 2 combined to be y to the 6. And z to the 5 and z to the 3rd add together to make z to the 8. And then x to the 3rd is the only thing left on the bottom. So that gets our answer of D. Taking a look at 24, we're simply using that formula and taking 100,000 and substituting it in for P. So again, taking that value right here, and wherever I see the letter P, I simply put that value, and then in my calculator, I would type all that in and simplify it to get $480. And finally, for 25 on this page, it says the quadratic equation can be solved by factoring. Well, in order to factor, you need to group everything on the same side. So I'd start by subtracting 28x to the other side and setting it equal to 0. Once I've done that, I see what common factor they have. And 12 and 28 have a common factor of 4. So I take out that 4, and when I divide the 12 by 4, I get 3. When I take the 28 divided by 4, I get 7. And looking at the x terms, they both have an x in common. So I take out that x. When I take out that x from the first term, I'm left with one more x. When I take out the x from the second term, that's gone. Now that it is factored, I can take each of those values and set it equal to 0 and solve. I then take 4x equal to 0 and divide by 4 to get x equals 0. I take 3x minus 7 equal to 0. I add the 7 over, divide by 3 to get 7/3. So those would be my two answers.